Attention musicians of all levels. It's not always easy picking out a song by ear. Sometimes you need a little help. Well, I have the app for you. Whether you're a professional musician or a beginner, Ultimate Guitar is an amazing app. For just $2.99, you get the chords and tabs on guitar, bass, or ukulele for over 1 million songs. They're all available at your fingertips. You also get tools like a tuner, metronome, chord library, lessons, videos, and more. You can find out any song you want. It also has like transpose button. It has auto scroll that you can change the speed to so you can play along with the song. A lot of the songs have the lyrics there so you can sing along with them. Ultimate Guitar is an amazing app. Just go to ultimateguitar.com or download the app to your phone today and start playing. Start playing any song you want. Ultimate Guitar, that's the place for you. Let's get down.
And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
It's time for How Did I Get Here? And now here is your host,
All right, hello, I'm Johnny, I'm your host. Welcome to the show. I hope you guys all had a great weekend, whatever it is you did this weekend. I had a good weekend, gang. I'll tell you all about it in just a second, but first I wanted to remind you guys that Skyrocket, the band that I'm in, is playing this Friday, January 20th at 310 Austin City Limits Live right here downtown Austin. You can go to skyrockettheband.com to figure out how to get tickets and stuff. It's always a good time playing there. They've got a giant screen, and we have a great video display that goes on through the whole time that we play. And it's generally a very, very, very fun show. All of them have been fun in the past. So 310 Austin, Skyrocket, this Friday, January 20th. Come on out. Come on out and check it out, gang. Come on out and check it out. That's what I'm telling you. Gang, I had a great weekend. Had a great weekend loaded with studio stuff. Jake Lloyd, who is in Austin Music Foundation Artist Development Program artist this year, season 6, as we would call it, was in the studio at the Bubble recording there with Frenchie and Einar Peterson and me, and it was a great time. Great time. Him and his dude, Danny Saldivar, amazing producer he's got, and sort of like musical counterpoint. Jake's an amazing talent. I didn't play. I just hung out. I mean, everyone just had, they came with a bunch of stuff and their arsenal, and Danny's an amazing keyboard player himself. And that's kind of my role in those sessions. If there's not a keyboard player, that's what I do. And so, anyway, I just hung out and soaked it in and had a good time. Made some suggestions here and there, but those guys are amazingly talented. Plus, I did an awesome podcast this weekend, gang. Oh my God. My friend Salim Narala was doing a little Texas tour with legendary guitar player Marty Wilson Piper from The Church and All About Eve, but mostly like from The Church. That's what we know him from. We know him from Under the Milky Way, from Reptile. I know him from some other stuff too, Jules Shear record that I got to talk to him about. But they came over to the house, had a great conversation. You'll hear that on Friday's show. Really excited. I was really excited to meet Marty Wilson Piper. I even took a picture of his Coke Zero and the glass of mine that he drank out of. And I was considering it made me realize that I should have kept like whatever like cup or glass anybody used that was real cool, and sort of have like a mantle, like a little mantle with a bunch of glasses and the person's name on it and their picture next to it or something. Anyway, that was exciting. That was super fun. Had a great weekend. Hey gang, remember the other day on Friday's episode, I was talking about the passing of Jeff Beck. Totally sad, very sad thing. But I was listening to an interview with Jeff Beck, and he was talking about his favorite rendition of his band was in the 80s with, I think it was Simon Phillips on drums and Doug Wimbish on bass. And I just had Doug Wimbish on the show in November. That was really awesome. And then another insane thing happened. Oh my God, you guys. So then Lisa Marie Presley passed away. May she rest in peace. That was also very sad. Both of them, people, sad to lose people from this earth. A great guitar god like Jeff Beck, who inspired so many people. Lisa Marie Presley, who the world watched grow up. You know what I mean? They watched her grow up. They were cheering her on from the time she was born. Anyway, I was going to let you know, I totally spaced out, but thought that I opened for Lisa Marie Presley around 20 years ago. In 2003 at the Texas State Fair, I was in this band called Indochine. I played guitar and keyboards with Casey McPherson, Nathan Harlan, and a couple of other awesome dudes. And we opened for Lisa Marie. I didn't meet her. I saw her show up, and she was with Priscilla and her kids. And Priscilla was kind of watching the kids, and Lisa Marie Presley was being a rock star. And I watched them walk in and go to their backstage area, and then we left after the show. But I did open for Lisa Marie Presley once. But, gang, this is also podcast related. I didn't even realize this, but I was reading this stuff about Lisa Marie Presley, and they were talking about one of her husbands, Michael Lockwood, that they had been in a big fight over their kids and custody battle and stuff. Well, I had a guy named Michael Lockwood on my show back in October from a band called Lions and Ghosts, a great band. And he also played with Amy Mann and Susanna Hoffs and all this stuff. And when I read it, I thought, oh, that's funny. It's got the same name as the guy from Lions and Ghosts. So obviously, I just listened to a bunch of music that this dude played on and didn't really look up the news of this guy. But Michael Lockwood from Lions and Ghosts, who was on the show, was married to Lisa Marie Presley. And now there's like a custody battle over her kids after she died, because apparently he's the father of her twins. It was a very ugly divorce, like a 5-year-long divorce and custody battle and all this shit. And then sadly she passes away. These poor kids lost their mom, and then now their dad's trying to get them back. But that guy was actually on the show back in October. So, nuts, right? It's weird that you're just, maybe I guess you interview enough people, and whenever people start dying, you're like, oh yeah, this guy was played with him in the 80s, or this guy was married to her. Whatever. Anyway, I thought it was a small world, and I thought it was weird. It is a small world, and the world is weird. It is weird, right? I mean, it's weird that it's weird that I did all this research on Michael Lockwood. This is what I'm trying to say. I thought, I'm sorry to keep on going on this. I thought it was weird, and I kind of got on myself because Salim Nuralla was the one that told me about it, because he knows Michael Lockwood as well. And he was like, it's weird, isn't it, about Lisa Marie? And I'm like, what? And then he told me, and I was like, holy shit, I read that guy's name, and I just thought it was some other Michael Lockwood. I didn't realize it was the same one. But when I was doing my research for Michael a few months ago, I didn't look up news stuff. So now I'm looking up everybody's, like, I'm looking under all the rocks just so that I don't miss something that big, like dude was married to, Elvis's daughter. Anyway, she also married Michael Jackson. Remember that? That was crazy. Okay, I'm going to get off all this stuff right now and tell you guys that I have an amazing show for you today. The amazingly talented Nagavalli returns to the show today. Yeah, she was on quite a few years ago, and she has a brand new album called Numinosum coming out on Friday, February 10th, and she is celebrating with a very special release show at Stateside Paramount Theater on Saturday, February 11th, with very special guest Betty Sue. She also has a great band playing with her and all this stuff, but I think that Nagavalli is an amazingly talented person, and this new record is really interesting because normally she just did like Eastern music, Indian music. She is Indian, and she's Indian American, and this record kind of reflects it's a microcosm of her life that she's lived between the East and the West. And now this record is really interesting because it opens up with like a traditional sort of like modern Indian jam. And then the next song is like acoustic guitar in English song. But it still has Nagavalli's unique voice and her unique sort of like approach to songwriting, her very, very open and uplifting approach to songwriting. Beautiful, beautiful songs. There's a song called I See You, which is a beautiful song and a beautiful sentiment. It's everybody needs to be seen and heard, and that's what this song sort of like reflects. Like, I see you. You'll hear this song. The single's already out. It's out now, wherever it is you stream and download music, out today. Nagavalli.com. That's where you can go and find, get tickets to her show and all that stuff. We have a really great conversation about her journey in music and what she's been up to for the last few years and sort of her music community activism. She's the vice chair on the Austin Music Commission. She's a board chair at EQ Austin. She has a lot to do with what's happening in music and what the community can do to lift up the music community. That's what I'm trying to say. And also like Asian American artists and stuff like that. She's very involved with everything like that. So I applaud Nagavalli and her amazing ability to do art, have a probably a pretty stressful day job, and then also be out there advocating for Indian American artists, for all, musicians and artists here in Austin, to lift our lives up, She talks a lot about her co-producer on this record, Katie Marie. Fantastic. This record's great. I can't wait until you guys hear it. It drops Friday, February 10th, and Saturday, February 11th. You can see her at the Stateside Paramount Theater. I told you that. This is a very special show. And the single, I See You, is available now. You'll hear it now, but go and check it out. Check it out on your Spotifys or your Apples or wherever you download or stream or whatever you do. And please enjoy my conversation with this amazingly talented and fantastic human being, Nagavalli. Let's get down.
Staying behind a curtain, it's only
We live in this weird town where like pop music is like the hip hop and pop music are the biggest music everywhere in the world outside of
in
Travis
Austin.
County. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like SZA. It's hard. Do you dig into new music? We're going. I'm recording, by the way.
Oh, you are
Yeah, I don't
recording.
care. I'll start this going. Let's start here. Let's start here. Where do you sit with new music?
It's hit and miss for me. Yeah, if somebody turns me onto something, I would listen to it. Kind of also now, checking out more of the local artists too, given some of the work I've been involved in.
Yeah.
To get an idea around that. So
Who are a couple? Give me two.
the young artists, like emerging artists like Quentin, Sheila.
Quentin Arispe.
Yeah.
Sheila.
Yeah.
I just had Sheila. I work with Sheila with Austin Music Foundation, and Quentin was in the Austin Music Foundation Artist Development Program with us.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Grace Sorensen.
Grace Sorensen in
Malad.
it too. Yeah.
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 There's some.
All right, so I'm not out of touch. I thought you were going to say a bunch of people I'd never heard of, and I was going to feel stupid. and old.
It's possible because I kind of went to a free week and not the whole thing, but the opening of that, and I'm sure there were bands in there that I had not heard of. So
Yeah.
it would be. In the sense I was not particularly exposed to. So I think. I have more interest in that in a way because of some of the advocacy work I've been involved in. So I'm trying to tune in more. Overall, of course, I listen to some popular stuff from India as well when I get tuned into that. It's somehow, I'll be very honest. I think earlier on in my life, I used to be just hooked to listening to other music, artists, when I was kind of learning and, trying to figure my own path. And to the point where I would have a song on repeat literally 30 times over if I loved it. And I would be completely just in heaven,
taken
just
away
heaven
by
with it. Adult life.
It's hard to get to that point.
Working, full time, doing my music, and some of the other stuff I've been involved in, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what the psychology is.
Can I tell you?
But
because I've kind of been studying it over the almost 12 years I've been doing this show. I feel like everybody's favorite music is the music that they were listening to between 11 years old and like 22 or 23. That's
I
when
think that's
you're
what
when
you latch on to, probably.
because
yes.
your emotions you're discovering your emotions, and then there's this music. That music touches you emotionally, but then also people are saying stuff that you're experiencing, and you're hearing it like, oh, that guy's talking to me about this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And then as you get older, it just doesn't hit you like that.
yeah, but it's also space. I think because we get busy and
Yeah, that's what I mean. You
To
get
have-
older, life gets in the way of
life gets in the
yeah.
way, right? And yeah, and I said beyond that, I don't know what the psychology is because. I'm also trying to kind of express my own self through music,
Right,
and
exactly.
there is the very beautiful, emotional, and more spiritual aspect to pursuing something that you love, and then there is this aspect of am I successful in this, commercially, or how this, it's
Yeah.
that can get
The struggle.
It can get not conflicting, but that can be a struggle sometimes.
Yeah.
And when you start measuring yourself up, and honestly, like it's like there was a period of time when I was not doing what I'm doing now with my own music, where it almost hurt sometimes to listen to good music. It sounds terrible.
because you feel like they're making it against you.
No,
Oh, I do that.
that I am not.
No,
I am
that's what
not-
I'm saying.
I'm not
Right,
living that myself.
Right. That's
I'm
that's
not
what-
being able to
right,
express myself in that way.
Right.
And so it just hurt something. So it's possible that there was a period of time. Hi, Rosie.
She's got some questions. She'll ask them later.
Yes. So it's just a combination of things, but I really think it's because life gets busy.
Yeah.
And I do crave in my heart to connect back to music. I do crave that feeling where I could just listen to music for hours. First thing I got up in the morning, I would turn
Yeah.
the All India radio on and listen to music. That's how I started my day every day when I was younger. I would be just hooked to it, and I want that again. Maybe I'll be there again. Who knows?
What inspires you? Like, you just made a beautiful album. Don't yell at me if I say it wrong. Numinosum.
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 Yes.
Numinosum. Gorgeous record.
Thank you. Thank you.
People can hear this single. By the time this comes out, I See You will be out,
Yes.
which is a
and
great song. And
Thank
also,
you.
like I was saying to you, when people get this record, it starts off, and it's modern Indian styled music, and then like a acoustic guitar singer-songwriter English American ballad follows it. Which, for a listener that's not ready for that, I mean, that's quite a, I mean, the language changes,
Yes.
the feel changes, kind of the delivery changes. Not that you're no longer Nagavalli, but you're in the world of one of your idols and one of my idols, Eliza Gilkison. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. I love her.
Yeah. So, gorgeous record. When
Thank
did
you.
you write this record? Was this a record you were making like in 2019 or the beginning of 2020, and then the thing went down and then you had to wait, or was
No,
it something
I
you wrote during that time?
Started it towards that was 2021. June, July is when I
Okay, once
went
you were
into the
vaxxed
studio
and started
Yes.
being able to be around.
Yes.
Who you have a sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
You have a co-producer on this,
Yes.
Katie Marie.
Yes.
Tell me about her.
Katie Marie is, well, first of all, she's a friend of mine. We have a good camaraderie. She plays in my band. She has played drums. She's a multi-instrumentalist, played drums, now plays bass on the band. And she also produces. And early on, I had this idea that the next album, I was going to have all these tracks and I was going to shop it around and da-da-da. And
Shop it around to labels.
like or to producers,
okay,
etc.
okay.
And then like there was this one fine day I was working with Katie during the pandemic on and off. We were doing some live streams, and I had this idea that here's my friend and an amazingly talented musician beautiful songwriter. We co-wrote one song on the album
Which
together.
song?
Ocean Blue.
Okay.
And why don't I ask her to work with me on this album? And and I kind of told her that, and I said, before I change my mind, say yes. I actually said that because I could be fickle-minded sometimes. Who knows? So yeah, that's how that happened, and it's been a wonderful decision at my end for me.
That's awesome. Who did your records before? Were you the producer of the records before?
I've always co-produced because I sit very close
Right.
to the songs. I have a pretty good idea of what I want the sound to be.
Yeah.
So I've worked with Don Harvey on the last album, the meditative album that I did.
Yeah.
The first one with AJ Vallejo.
Yeah. I saw that. He's
Eastern
one
Soul.
of my best friends. That,
Yeah, I know.
That Silent Night you guys did was great.
That was for local CBS for VR
Yeah.
Austin. They were doing a Christmas special, and yeah,
You like
AJ's
Christmas music? Like just as a
I love
genre?
Christmas music,
You
but
do?
the funny thing is, I'm pretty eclectic in that I think.
But do you
anything-
like Frosty the Snowman? Can we just all agree that song's stupid? nobody. Like,
You know, I wouldn't say that ever. But but no, the thing is, I had not done a holiday song ever. And this was one of the songs where I knew the melody, and I asked AJ, this was on pretty short notice. And I asked him, hey, can I come by and record this with you? And I might have to do it verse by verse because I'm learning the song kind of for the show. But of course I said yes, because I was like, sometimes I love doing that when I have not done something. And, once you say yes, you're committed. And,
Yes, you are.
That now creates this opportunity to explore something that you have not done before or new, you know.
Right.
And so that's how that happened, and I think it turned out pretty good.
Yeah, it
Decent.
turned out great.
Yeah,
It was great.
And bring a little bit of Indian touch to the whole thing. Yeah.
So let's get back to this record. So
Yes.
So did you write these songs during the 2020 era?
No, a lot of
Oh,
them. So actually, this is, I would say, the first time I'm actually putting on record songs that I've been playing on stage for a while.
So they've been kind of tested.
Yes. So there are, and I've also kind of really figured out how I wanted the songs to sound, what kind of arrangements I wanted on these songs. There are like maybe 2 or 3 songs on the album that, like the first chant, I've never done that before.
Okay.
Ocean Blue is something that Katie and I wrote together. So there are a few in there that are not new, but most of them are songs that I've actually played on stage, and now I'm for the first time presenting on an album. So in a lot of ways, I feel like this is the first time after more than a decade that I'm actually putting songs on an album that I've been playing all these years.
You excited about that?
I'm very excited.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a great album, and it drops
you.
on Friday, February 10th, and then the next day you'll be playing on Saturday, February 11th. You'll be doing a show at the Stateside at Paramount Theater with special guest, our friend Betty Sue.
And it's the first time I'm announcing it, but I will have Carrie Rodriguez
Oh, fantastic!
with me on stage.
She's
Oliver
fantastic.
Raju. Yes, I love her.
I just met her.
Yeah?
Yeah, I just met her last year at a thing, and then she came on the show. But it was weird. It was. I was like, I can't believe I've never met you. Like
Carrie, yeah. I mean, she's a lovely soul.
Yeah, she's
along
really
with being
cool.
a fantastic artist. Oliver Rajamani is back on.
Oh yeah.
Indrajit Banerjee, sitar, and I might have somebody else, one more person that I'm looking to confirm. Betty Sue is supporting
Yeah.
too. Yeah,
She's such a
it'll
great
be
talent.
fun. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, she's also, I walked in, when I came to this town, she was one of the few Asian American artists that I saw playing in the scene very early on. Yeah, even before I had started. So yeah, lovely artist.
You've really before we get into this,
Yeah.
let's say the one song that people can hear from the record is a song called "I See You," And this song is very. Would you say it's for the unseen? Like that's what this song is about. It's a song for the unseen, for those that go through life that aren't seen, which is an important thing in life to be seen and heard.
To be seen, yeah. And well, I think it's what one makes out of it, right? In their own context and in their own lives. Yes, it is for the unseen. It's also for a lot of us who, want to be seen, want to belong. It's possible that we are doing things to just keep ourselves under the radar, because there's a part of us that's afraid to be seen. And that's where I wrote that. And I do think that people who might have also experienced trauma in some form or the other, which is a lot of folks walking around.
So many, right?
Yeah, and we tend to keep ourselves under the radar too. And not afford ourselves the opportunity or the courage to be seen. So it's really, yes, it is just, it's almost a fundamental need as a human being, I feel, to be seen, to be heard, to belong. And so
did you know what you were writing when you wrote it? Were you or you were, like, before you set out to write it, were you setting out to write that song?
Yeah.
To put
this
that
one,
message
yes.
out there?
Sometimes that's not the case, but this one,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it feels like that.
Yeah.
And it feels like that on a personal level, because did you come from a place where you felt you weren't seen?
I did. It's not like this occasion or that instance.
No, but do you want to talk about that a little bit? I mean, was there...
Well, without going too...
what do you mean? That's what this show is. This is it. That's what this is about. There's no time limit. There's no referee.
Well, some of it is just so
kidding.
personal that, I'm not even sure if I'm ready to share. But, I have had my own experiences that have amounted to trauma in my own life. And I feel like some of these experiences, whether they're in childhood or a little later in life, they almost work on your brain chemistry in a manner how you carry yourself in life in different spaces. And part of it was perhaps being a little afraid to be seen even when the opportunity presented itself.
I hear you.
Part of it was nobody's gonna allow me to be seen.
Yeah.
You want to make me cry. So, gosh, I'm such a professional and all that in my
look, you're a human being.
Yes,
we're all
yes,
human beings
yes,
here, and we're expressing this stuff that's hard for people to express.
Yes, and it's so having that fear that even if you are at your best, that it's not going to get acknowledged, or you're not going to be seen because somebody's against you, or jealous of you, or whatever it is, right? There's that aspect of it. And there is a certain empathy and compassion that comes from being in that space towards others that might be in a similar space.
Yeah.
So I think the song speaks of all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, I upon first listen, I'm like, what a beautiful song. Upon second listen, I'm like, what is she saying? And then the third listen, I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I understand that stuff, man. That's, and thank you for talking about that, because I feel like that will give people a better connection to that song when they're hearing it. You know what I mean? Like they'll hear it like it's being seen.
Yeah.
So you work in advocacy. I mean, you have a full-time job, right? You're in tech. What aspect of tech are you in?
Call it portfolio career. I heard that term somewhere that cracked me up.
Portfolio career? What does that even? I don't even know what that means.
When you're doing things in multiple areas and doing them equally seriously.
Oh,
I heard that somebody coined that term, and I was like, "Oh, that's
my new thing.
Kind of. No,
I'm going to say it too.
It is what it is. I think if we all make our choices in life. Yeah. But yeah, sorry. Go back to your
what
question.
aspect
I
of
don't
tech
think.
do you work?
Pardon me. Well, right now I run a program management team.
Okay.
In technology.
Yeah. Did you go to school and stuff for that? Did you?
Yeah. I initially came to this country for grad school for a PhD in physics, and I stayed in that department for all of 1 year, and I quit because music has always been there. I started learning when I was 6 or 7 years old, and it's just always been such a deep part of me.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't think I can do research and music, and where am I going to find the time? And so I quit physics, went and got a expedited 1 year degree, master's in information systems, and got the job here at Dell in Austin. I don't work for Dell anymore, but yeah. But it's stayed there for 11 years. It's what got me initially to this country.
Yeah.
I always knew that I would pursue music in some form, but I had zero clue how. And it took me a long time to figure it out and get started here.
But you did.
Yeah.
And you really I hear your name out there, when I'm out, Yeah, you hear it. Like someone's like, oh, about Nagavalli. And you're like, oh, shit.
Nagavalli.
Nagavalli.
Everyone switches off the V and G sometimes.
Nagavalli.
Nagavalli.
No, that's why I said Nagavalli.
Nagavalli. Sometimes people switch it. They say Nagavalli. Instead of Nagavalli, they'll bring the V before.
That's what I said. I didn't?
Sometimes
I thought I did.
I thought I heard. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. I've been saying it. I feel like I've been saying that the whole time.
I could be totally wrong. Maybe
Okay.
I'm hearing things. Who knows? But
let's get into an argument.
Yes, totally.
First cry and then get into an argument. And then people listening will understand why I'm single.
Hey, I don't know. I am single too,
Then I'll cry too. Okay, so you've been working in advocacy, and you have ended up you're board chair at EQ Austin and vice chair of Austin Music Commission.
All of those, the titles, the positions in the last 2 years.
Do you have an office there or something? Do you have an office in City Hall?
No. This is every council member selects somebody to represent them at the or from their represent the district rather at the music commission.
How did you end up going into these things? Because I'll tell you this one real quick before I have to interrupt you. I do have to say this one thing, because when I was going through your Instagram this morning,
what did you see?
It's like Kirk Watson, Lloyd Doggett. It's like, and then like Kerry Rodriguez and some other people. But I'm like, who is she hanging out with all the time? Is she going to be running for some kind of office that I can vote for her? Can I be your campaign manager? Because that's a fantasy of mine.
To be a campaign
Oh
manager?
Yeah, totally. It always has been for a long time. Not always, but since I was like 19 or 20.
Running for office now. No. I'm not a particularly political person. I'm really not. I've been, working with EQ Austin over several years.
How did you get involved with that?
With Gavin Garcia and being a part of, he's the founder of EQ Austin and is the ED. And, a decade back, I think was it a decade back when Formula One first came in? And somebody, even though it was not formalized as EQ Austin, but somebody from that group had called and provided me an opportunity to play on one of the gigs for the first F1 in downtown.
Right.
So I knew, Gavin and others within, what is now EQ Austin. And then Alex, of course, through working with AJ. Alex
Vallejo. And AJ Vallejo, the fabulous Wonder
so I've been
Twins.
kind of on and off associated with them, doing their shows, the One Road Austin show that
Right.
that Alex also helps put together. So I've been involved. Yes.
There was a show before lockdown that I was supposed to do, and I got acute pharyngitis.
Oh no.
My throat swelled. My vocal cords were too swollen to even really talk. But I was supposed to do a show with you at Antone's
so
there.
you're gonna
There was a
have to
bunch of people. I
make
was
that
doing
happen
a
at
song. I
some
can't remember
point
what it
again.
was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still have the poster for a while.
Yeah.
But then I took it down because I never made it to the show. I hate that feeling. Sorry.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
through Alex and AJ and Gavin, you got involved with it.
So I've been involved, yeah, and on and off, mainly doing their shows, etc. And then during the pandemic, the whole thing about the creative space bond came up, and a couple of us from the community were brought back in, etc. It's somehow or the other. I think at that point, some vacancies got created in the music commission because of new council members being elected, and
Erica Shamley runs that, right?
yes,
Yeah, she's cool.
in EDD, the Economic Development Department. Yeah.
You want to know some like small world stuff?
Yes.
Here's two very small world
Tell
things.
me.
Totally off the record, but it'll
Yeah.
blow your mind. I met Erica years and years ago, like decades ago, like 25 years ago. She was married to a dude I went to high school with in Miami. Miami Beach Senior High School.
Okay.
Isn't that weird?
Wow.
Yeah. And then Betty Sue,
Yes.
we were talking one day, and her dad's a doctor. My grandpa was a doctor, and their offices were on the same block in Houston.
In Houston.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that weird? Anyway, small world.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I, I was asked, if I was interested in applying for the commission position. I did ponder over it, because if you get into things like this, I think then you want to get committed to, doing your part to have an impact, or just,
Sure.
just do your best to move things forward. I did give it a thought, but once I said yes, and I got committed, and I actually was offered the commission position. Then I'm fully in, because it is a term. You're there for a couple of years.
Is that
I love the community,
Yes.
the music community. I felt like I was in a position where I had some capacity, to.
a voice?
Be a part of the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
conversations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, I was the first one, I believe, on the commission from the Asian American community. And so for multiple reasons, it made sense at that point. And I was a little afraid, to be honest, as to I don't know what I'm getting into kind of a thing. But, you get in and you learn.
Yeah. I was going to say for our listeners, because there's people from not Austin listening, and there's people in Austin that have no idea there's a music commission that works with the city. Can you explain what that music commission's function is to the city?
Fundamental function is to advise city council on music industry issues. So anything, for example, the live music fund that are grants to musicians from the hotel taxes in Austin. Recommendations around how those funds should be allocated.
Okay.
Those go from the music commission to city council, and it's the city council that makes the actual decisions.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you guys
But
advise.
you're providing advice. Yeah.
Right. How many people are there on the
11.
music commission? 11?
Yeah. One from each district and an appointee from the mayor.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Kirk Watson's going to be mayor, right?
yes.
Yeah. That again.
You talk.
That guy's like that guy. Him and Lloyd Doggett, like those guys are like at parties I go to and stuff. And he's like,
Yeah. I have not been in those parties.
yeah, the Same Sky guys. Whenever they have a party,
Yeah.
Lloyd Doggett's always there doing something.
I met him
Hanging out?
at a meet and greet within the South Asian or the Asian community recently. So that's where that picture came from.
Okay.
I thought it was very gracious of him to, actually mail the picture
Yeah,
back
yeah.
to me. Yeah.
I played a fundraiser years ago, 15 years ago, And I've always been pretty rock and roll. That's the other thing. Like I could never, if I wanted to be a politician, I've done drugs with way too many citizens to get voted in. Not anymore. I'm older now, but
I
went
wouldn't
through,
have that problem, but I don't think I'm interested in politics in that way.
Me neither.
Yeah.
But I couldn't even if I was. So I remember doing this fundraiser for this congressman named Mark Strama, who was really fantastic dude. And we went to go take a picture, and when I went up and stood next to him to take a picture, he said, "Someone just told me I should get my picture taken with you."
Oh, that is hilarious.
That was funny.
Oh my God.
He was joking though.
Yeah. Let's do it.
But I felt really guilty at the moment. I was like, "I'm sorry, man. I don't want to ruin your career."
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's so. What are you guys tackling right now? What is like the big issue? Housing, gigs, money. How do we do this?
Yeah, I mean, for me, one of the most productive conversations, and I think impactful conversations at the Music Commission that I've been involved in, is the Live Music Fund. This is a fund that's been specifically allocated to commercial music in Austin from the hotel taxes. And we, as part of the commission, were able to talk about diversity and inclusion as part of how these funds get dispersed. Also, one of the huge wins, I believe, for us has been that the funds, which will hopefully get rolled out at least by summer this year, fingers crossed, now can be used within the ecosystem. They're not limited just to live performances. And I think that's been one of the biggest wins, at least, from the Music Commission, is that a musician can take the $5,000 or the $10,000 grant and go and use it for recording some songs or making a video or a live performance, but it's broadened than where it started. Also, I feel like this helps in actual career building for a musician, and also I think it will better support the ecosystem because through the musician, the funds could now go to an engineer or somebody else. Or it's more spread out, and this is a recurring fund. Will show up every year, couple of millions every fiscal year. So
that's great.
I think I think that's been huge.
Yeah. Do you? This town has a very interesting. Like it doesn't have as much music industry like record companies and this, as it has like Ham, Sims, Black Fret, Austin Music Foundation, and I mean countless others, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys, as the Music Commission has allocating funds to those different nonprofits too, right?
Not specifically from the Live Music Fund. The Live Music Fund is
right,
more,
not the Live Music Fund, but in different ways, right? Because I know
during I think the funds that came from ARPA. And other funds that could be allocated potentially.
It's very surreal though, isn't it? Like Austin, this is the only place where like musicians are like, "Oh man, come on, you got to get us housing." Where like you go to like Houston, they're like, "What?" Why musicians asking for better? You know what I mean? Like this is the only city where you can really do that.
And I do think that creatives over history have been supported by patrons. So I don't particularly see anything, wrong with that either.
Do you have a patron? Sorry.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Go
but
ahead.
I am considering I'm considering doing that, yes.
Right.
But a lot of musicians, yes, the housing issue is being discussed, but I don't think the housing issue is specific to musicians. It is. It's an issue with Austin.
Everybody,
right?
Yeah.
So I do believe that has to be solved at a macro level.
Yeah.
That will then, impact everybody and have a positive impact for everybody. I don't know, and I could be wrong, but if, the music alone can solve that issue, I don't know the mechanics of it, but I have my doubts. But there are a lot of musicians that are already moving out of Austin. There are a lot of black musicians
tons.
that are in Pflugerville and Round Rock and and around. And the idea is also, how do we, still all of us be together? And I think we have to expand the definition of Austin music in so many ways. I feel we have to expand it in terms of geography. I feel we should expand it in terms of the genre and the diversity that we include in Austin music. I think it has to be a forward-looking vision to where I think the definition of what Austin music is all about should expand rather than trying to fit into what is.
Right. Right.
And this is a very philosophical view probably provided. And now some of the work that I and others are involved in is, how do you action this?
Yeah. During the summer of 2020, as you remember, there was a lot of race awareness being brought up after the murder of George Floyd. Then that sort of that headspace reached all communities. And in Austin, we saw artists like Jackie Venson, like why am I drawing a blank on his name?
Chaka Mahone, Commissioner
like
Mahone.
Chaka. Come out and really say, like, this has been unfair, and there were people like the Blues on the Green people and all that. This whole thing, like all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Have you? What I'm leading to is, as an artist of color, somebody that works in the community with different artists, have you seen the reaction in the last couple of years? Has the reaction been positive, and has it stuck? Because like everybody, it became like the United Colors of Benetton in the summer of 2020. But then eventually that stuff kind of fades away. Sometimes.
I think as things move forward, we will know whether something stuck or not. I think fundamentally some things might be shifting to an extent at least. The fact that you see so many artists of color getting booked for in different avenues without taking any specific names clearly tells us that there was an issue before, because
definitely.
It's so visible now
Yeah.
and you can see the difference in people trying to make corrections, and I welcome all of that, right? I mean, sometimes I'm an idealist, or maybe most of the times I'm an idealist at heart, but when it comes down to real life things, I'm a pragmatist. For the most part at least, I like to see change, even if it's incremental change, if it's overnight, even if it doesn't change, as long as it's moving in the right direction. I think that's positive. So I think so. There's some change. I mean, I can tell you that specifically in the context of Asian American musicians who are in the scene, even when people are checking boxes, or if that is the case sometimes, or talking about, even in forums that I've been involved in where the conversation is around diversity and inclusion, there is not much mention of Asian American artists, I'll tell you that. And I repeatedly run into that. I have to butt in and say, hey, how about Asian American artists? Because it seems like it's not a consideration a lot of the times. It doesn't even occur. You know? So there's that. So it's not like, everything's hunky-dory, but I think movement in the positive direction, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
And like you were mentioning earlier, that, hip hop is one of the biggest genres outside, and it felt like it was not really well supported in this town at all. And maybe you are seeing a shift there, in the last few years. So,
it seemed like at a time, and he's a dear friend of mine and an inspiration for this show, but somebody like Nakia and the music that he was making, which was a blues band, guys in suits, playing a style of music that's old, mostly older songs from that era, was more popular than somebody like Kid Jones, who is doing hip hop and stuff like that, where you're like, what's going on with this town? Like, is this crazy? And it's nothing against Nakia, nothing. I'm not saying Kid Jones. I'm just saying like in Dallas, I think it would be the tables would be turned.
Yeah, I mean, you know, honestly, with the music that I write, I mean, you know, I really don't care about even genres that much.
Well, that's I will say that is that your music has like it is in a timeless, genreless zone.
Yeah, and I understand that genres and all. Even I myself, like in the context, do talk about genres and whatnot. But eventually, for me, whether it's Nakia or Kid Jones, it is how beautiful or how accomplished are they in whatever it is that they are doing. That's
Correct.
gonna
That's
matter.
true. I mean, Nakia is a badass at what he does.
You know, is that and for me, I respect that, or I respect anybody in literally in any genre. So, but I do know that in these conversations, genres do come up, and because I think there has been consistent. Whether we, it could be conscious, unconscious bias, or it's just the market here, whatever it is, but that certain genres have just not been supported. Also, there's not been much thought around, like I said, like, can we start expanding, broadening of the definition of what Austin music is all about? Because as this grows more and more as an international city, as it becomes more diverse, that's what it needs. It doesn't need just sticking to what we have, but how do we build into this future? And you are going to find more artists like me, but even younger ones, who are now such a mix of cultures and or are able to connect to other cultures and create something that's unique. Do we want those guys moving out of town? Because I've been advised to move out of town several times because if you want to do make it somewhere with your music, because there's not New York or LA, I have made my choices. But do we want others to make similar choices, or do we want to stay around here and make their music here? And how do we create an environment that fosters that?
Why can't you make music here and then go off and tour the whole world? That's what I've always viewed it as. This is a great place to live, better than LA and New York. If you like to have a yard, and not have to drive 75 miles to visit your friend Dave. In LA or something. But I mean, do you play out of town? Because I mean, that's something.
I play some in California, but this year. I cannot put it on paper or anywhere because the conversations are still on, but I'm definitely connecting to London and also looking to go back to Mumbai. Okay, because you after a long time. Yeah. Yes.
I wonder, how do you think they'll take songs like "I See You" there? Do you think they'll be like, "What are you doing?" What did they do to you over there?
London has a
London, but I mean like Mumbai in India.
Mumbai, yes, because independent music in actually Mumbai is expanding quite a bit in India, in the cosmopolitan cities, definitely. In Bangalore and Mumbai, because India, when I was growing up, was very Bollywood centric, and it still is. But there's definitely a lot more independent artists creating their own music now. And independent labels supporting that. You see a lot more of that now than there was before. Yeah. It's funny because there's a lot of. I'm thinking about genres when you were talking about Asian Americans, and there isn't. I don't even know. I mean, off the top of my head, I can think of you and Betty Sue. Betty Sue, and then there's Betty Sue does folk Americana. I do some world, and then there's aspect of crossover music. In my music, there is Oliver Rajmani, who's been playing for a long time, mixes flamenco and some country and Indian music. I see Maggie Miller, who's in town here. It's not a lot of them. There's not a whole lot of them. Yes, and all the more reason I think. I feel like we, an artist from the community, we have to keep up with it. We should be seen, and it's not coming from a place of. I think seeing examples would be great for other people to be encouraged. Yes, I think that's what I'm trying to say. Yes, yeah, and that's I think what. It's what Jackie and Chaka were doing a couple years ago too. I'm trying to. Open the doors, basically. yeah. And I think I do want to say that, work around diversity and inclusion, work around the Live Music Fund.
Yeah.
These have been going on from a long time with people like Gavin Garcia and others. Often I feel we don't talk about them and the work they have done to actually build the ground for this to lift up further.
Yeah.
And then what Commissioner Mahone, within and outside the commission, Chaka, has, how he has so given it such a clear voice.
Yeah.
And how that has moved things forward. Jackie Vincent did her thing. So it's work from what I've seen in the background that's been happening from years.
Yeah.
And just being propelled forward by various people.
Yeah. It's a special town. Like, having this conversation with you has reminded me that there's so much going on here on so many different levels. It's pretty magical.
I'm learning too. I've not been formally engaged in any of these forums in the past. Like I said, I'm learning as we go, and I think it's needed. Not me or somebody else particularly, but collectively, that we do have these conversations to move things forward.
What was that show that just happened at 310? That was a big,
that was
inclusive,
just joyful.
Yeah,
that was Dia on Dia. I think the city. There was a proclamation for it to be a day of diversity and inclusion awareness. So that was the play on the words with Dia, and it was for Dia Day, Day of the Dead. And EQ Austin did that in collaboration with Easter Seals.
Okay, cool.
And we had over 30 plus diverse artists on stage that day. It was quite the beautiful experience.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't go to it, but I saw the pictures and stuff. I was like, oh, that's a pretty.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed that one.
Yeah, it was joyful, and even for all the musicians.
Yeah.
To be there with other musicians and connect with each other, I think it just was a beautiful experience, and we did some good with raising funds for Easter Seals as well.
That's great.
Yeah.
This show on February 11th, Saturday, February 11th at the Stateside at the Paramount Theater, I've seen people go for it. Like, I'm doing this record release here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. What makes you take a step like that as opposed to like Saxon Pub? Or so, something that's already like, it's not that big of a risk. There's a risk involved when you go and do a theater. That's what people that listening should know. Because you never know what the heck's going to be happening in Austin that night. I can't believe how little I'm cussing on this. I don't think I've cussed yet, and I've stopped myself from saying hell.
I do with a few close friends, but not publicly.
It's one of my best attributes is that I can really summon any bad word. No, I feel like for some reason, whoever's listening to this, I don't want your mom to get mad at me.
No, you're fine.
So, yeah, I mean, that's a big bite.
It is.
It's a risk. Is that something that you thrive on? Is that something you're like, hey, let's take a step up this time? 1-to-1 bar's gone. They let you do whatever you want. You're going to be able to make something at the door. But at a theater or something like that, you could lose.
Yes.
It's risky. It's exciting.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, again, with something like that, there are several aspects to it. I think, it's an album release. You want it to be special, and having a space like that allows me to do more than I could do at a club musically.
Yeah.
It allows me to just present a much broader repertoire that I might not be playing if I were, just doing a club gig or something like that. So partly it's that. Partly it's really what it allows me to do musically and present something on a special occasion that's broader perhaps than on a regular day.
And I feel like, sorry to interrupt you, I feel like when you're doing it at a place like that, you're going to a place not to sell booze.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're at a bar and you're playing a bar, no matter what you're doing there, no matter how special your music is, you're selling booze. And people looking for a partner.
Yeah.
But when you go to a theater, someone goes with someone and sits in a chair, and like the sound is a little bit more special. People don't talk during the show. It's
Yeah.
not a social event. It's a
Yeah.
yeah.
They're there for the music. They're there to support you.
Yeah.
Definitely. And so, yeah, I mean, is it nerve-wracking? Yeah, I mean, yeah, am I going to sell all the tickets? Am I going to sell only 50%? We're kind of there at the 50% mark already a month before. So,
People get out there and buy tickets. Come on, someone's doing something exciting. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing that to me, I'm like, man, let's go see this show just because someone's doing something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
A little bigger.
yeah, and Heather's doing PR for me. But it definitely, this is when you're an independent artist and mostly operating like with, pretty limited resources, it's you're hustling,
Yeah.
quite a bit to make everything happen because now you're in charge of the production, the ticket sales, and
That's what I'm saying.
advertisement, everything. It is quite a bit to take on.
Nothing against Saxon Pub, but it's a whole different animal.
Yeah, it is a whole different animal, and I would love to be and get to a place where I have more of a team, maybe even bigger of a team to be like doing these things. That would be a sweet spot to be in. But
It's almost
I think
cooler that you're not, though. I mean,
But the other side of it, yeah, the joy that comes out of actually then getting on that stage and playing for whoever is there to support you and listen to you, I think it's going to be fantastic.
and you pulled it off, and you went for it. That's the other thing is you
Yes.
went for something a little
Yes.
more. That's exciting.
Yes, I did that
And
at the One
commendable.
World Theater too. That was a huge,
Yes, that's right.
huge leap of faith, and we sold out there. But that was anxiety provoking. Just
Yeah.
taking that on and just but I will be very honest. There have been some venues that have played here. Over time, like One to One, the Strange Brew
Oh, yeah.
place,
yeah,
Cactus,
Strange Brew.
Cactus Cafe. I played
Cactus.
a few times, but I would be lying if I tell you that I did just been like able to get all these gigs at all these venues and had this choice, huge choice to make here. I didn't. It's been very difficult for me in this town to get bookings at some of the venues, even after the One World show. Because they just either don't have context or probably don't care to have me here or my genre there, whatever it is. So it's not been easy for me to just randomly walk to some good venues and get gigs. So let me be honest about that. So for me in this case, I didn't even consider it.
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love this record, and I
Thank you so
also
much.
like you went for. I mean, you can't. I think it's cool. It's nice to see somebody still working on an artistic level for art's sake. That's why you're doing this. You're not making a windfall on it. You're not going to leave your job when this record comes out.
Yeah.
You're not playing the Stateside because you can make a bazillion dollars playing there. You're doing all this stuff for art's sake, and I think that's incredibly beautiful. Right down to making a record that it's very difficult to explain this record. And I mean, I'm lucky. I don't know if I would have just heard a song on the radio. I don't know. I'm glad that I have this position that I have to listen to this record on headphones and like get into it. And then I realized in it, like, there's not as many people making whole records anymore.
Yes.
And your record
Yes.
would be really, really difficult to understand as like a series of singles, because you'd be like, what is going on with Nagavalli here?
Yeah, I think what ties it together is what I probably how I write my music, what I bring to each of the songs vocally. That's like the common thread across. As far as putting those particular combination of sounds together, it's very reflective of where I come from musically and my own life experiences between kind of two worlds.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm tying together there. Yeah.
You did a great job of it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Everyone can go to nagavalli.com. There'll be a link to it in the text of this podcast. The single I See You, by the time this is out, will be available wherever it is you stream and download music. The album, Numinosum. I gotta look at you right afterwards like, did I say it right?
Numinosum is it's an interesting word. I don't even know if I can explain it entirely. It might, maybe in a couple of sentences, but it is something that refers to something that's fascinating or tremendous. inherent to it is curiosity as to what might come up beyond your linear thinking, right? So I think Numinosum is the space where creativity happens, where one is capable of profound transformation. That's where the word comes from. I think Rudolf Otto, he was a theologian. He might have coined it or used it to see what unites all spirituality, regardless of religion. So it refers to some mysterious, to the mysterious. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, because you really did hit the nail on the head. You made a really gorgeous record.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And
with the
thanks
help from a whole bunch of wonderful musicians and engineers.
Yeah. You're lucky.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am.
And you're really talented. And
thank you.
I'm glad I'm glad you came back. And
thank you for having me back here.
It's great to talk to you. I think we covered a lot of different things here. This was informative. This was emotional. This was good.
Thank you.
Thanks for being a great guest.
Making the space for it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Gang, that was Nagavalli. Her album Numinosum drops Friday, February 10th. She is celebrating with a release show Saturday, February 11th at the Stateside at Paramount Theater here in Austin, Texas, with special guest Betty Sue and a full band. Her song I See You, which is out now, wherever it is you stream and download, go out there and listen to it. You just heard a little bit of it. You'll hear the rest of it when I stop talking. Go to Nagavalli.com for all of your Nagavalli needs. What a great conversation. She's so sweet. She reached out afterwards and had some really kind things to say. I really respect this amazing woman. Amazing talent. What a great songwriter. What a great singer. What a great musician. What a big heart. And what a drive to get out there and actually go out there and help the community and do that stuff. Go to Nagavalli.com, and don't forget when you're out there checking out Nagavalli.com that you can subscribe to this podcast wherever it is that you stream or download podcasts. We have new shows out every Tuesday and every Friday. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Overcast, Stitcher, anywhere you find podcasts, new podcasts all the time. If you download the Podbean app, you can access all 1,241 episodes of How Did I Get Here? Oh my God. That's a lot. Did I tell you guys Salim, Narala and Marty Wilson Piper are on the show on Friday? Excited about that. All right, enjoy the rest of this song. I See You. All right, and get out there and like it and download it and follow it or stream it, whatever it is you do with music. Nagavalli, thank you for doing the show. Have a great week, whatever it is you're doing. Let's get down.